The talk show host, callers, or their guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of this radio station.
Good afternoon, beloved, and welcome to this edition of Let's Chat America. I'm your host, Dr. L. Ronald Durham, and we are broadcasting live from the studios of Joy 106.3 FM. This is Daytona's favorite gospel station, and I'm so delighted to have all of you listening and tuned in. Those who are coming in on the Facebook Live feed, we're glad to see you, of course. And certainly to all of you in your home, your automobile, your car, wherever you might be today, thank you for tuning in to the number one talk show in Daytona Beach on Thursday. Good afternoon, Alberta. Bless you, my beloved. It's good to have you on the Facebook Live feed and all of you who are coming in on today. We hope you're being safe out there. We're still in the middle of this pandemic. We know that the vaccines are being rolled out, and we hope they'll be quickly distributed so that all of us can start getting those vaccines. Right now here in the state of Florida, it is our frontline workers, those who are in the hospitals and nursing homes, doctors, nurses, and our seniors, those who are 65 and older. Those are the first who are receiving the vaccine. To my good friend and brother, Reverend Gresham, we see you on the Facebook Live feed as well. And all of you, thank you so much for being here today. I'm trying to get the Facebook Live feed situated so that we don't have that black spot in the upper right corner, but bless all of you today. If you want to join the conversation, of course, you know what we're going to be talking about today. All of the stuff that is going on in the nation's capital of Washington, D.C. It is just a hotbed of activity right now, and we're going to be talking about impeachment. We're going to be talking about what's going on with the representatives in the House, those in Congress. We're going to touch a little bit today on Michigan, Flint, Michigan. Some interesting news is coming out of there that we're going to also be dealing with. And of course, the number one issue is number 45 and where he's going to be in the next few days. Give me a call if you want to chime in. You can put a question or a comment on the Facebook Live feed as well, and we'll get that comment on the air. 386-516-8030. 386-516-8030. Yes, Reverend Gresham, we are thanking you for your comments and prayers. All of you who've been praying for me as well. We are safe. We are sound. The Lord is good, keeping his arms of protection around us, and we are thankful for that. Those Facebook friends of mine, you saw my post a couple of days ago. Vandalism is being perpetrated even now around the country, not just in Washington, D.C., but hitting our neighborhoods as well. Lynette, we see you on the Facebook Live feed, beloved. Happy to have you there as well. People are just incensed, and there's no real middle ground. I don't think there's any such thing anymore in politics as a moderate. There used to be a person who considered themselves, him or herself, to be a moderate. That meant they were in between. They were not left. They were not right. They considered themselves to kind of be in the middle. Middle is no longer an option in the current political climate. People today are taking one side or the other. In many cases, you are either blue or you're red. and if you're blue, the what has happened with the radicalized Republican Party, and even those who are not really Republican, but they've been radicalized by the rhetoric that Republicans are supporting, and that rhetoric is indoctrinating them. They are becoming part of this radicalized right wing, many of them conspiracy believing individuals. I was listening to a broadcast on my way to the studio today and it was coming from a young woman who had been spending more time on the internet, and this is where a lot of this foolishness is coming from, and she was just sucked in to all of the QAnon conspiracies, all of those other radical groups that are online spreading all kinds of conspiracy nonsense. And she was quite convincing on how easy it becomes to become radicalized. And she went from just being a regular, average, everyday person to this person who now was believing in all the stuff that she was reading and seeing online. And we're seeing more and more. And that's exactly what happened with this group that invaded Washington. They invaded the Capitol. They became radicalized. And as a result of it, they believed. Many of them. Now, some of them are a little more subtle. They have a different agenda rather than that of trying to be patriotic. Their agenda is more of tearing down the foundations upon which this country has been built. My good friend Tony grew up together in New Jersey. I see you on the Facebook Live feed. Deacon Reginald, we see you from Jacksonville on the live feed as well. Phil, we see you, our good Democratic colleague. See you on the Facebook Live feed. All of you, we're so happy that you're tuned in and watching us today. Listen, you can pick up the phone. You can dial those 10 numbers. You can give me a call. Join the conversation. 386-516-8030. 386-516-8030. And, you know, with people having lost their jobs, or their hours have been reduced in the places where they work, they are spending much more time online. They're on the internet. They're seeing this information. Some of them are being sent links to their emails that kind of guide them and direct them to these radicalized groups where they're being indoctrinated. And the interview that I was listening to, this woman said it doesn't take long, you know, just a couple of weeks of the steady diet of lies and conspiracies got her to the place where she was believing everything that she read. And that's the danger. That is the danger that we're seeing played out all over the country. The inauguration is scheduled for January the 20th. It will take place. President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris will be sworn in as the next executive leadership of this nation. That will happen. Unfortunately, we're seeing the mobilization of troops in and around Washington, D.C. The latest estimates, I believe now there are upwards of 20,000 National Guard men and women inside of Washington, D.C., deployed mainly around the Capitol building, but also we're seeing them deployed in other areas around D.C. And the reports from the FBI, as well as many local police departments, New York City being one of them, that seems to be on top of getting this kind of information or finding access to the information. New York City was one of the cities that reported what they were seeing online prior to the revolt or the attempted revolt in Washington, D.C. by these insurrectionists and seditionists. And if a city could find that information without much of the tools that we have on the federal level in the FBI and the CIA, something is wrong. We should have a better network of uncovering this information on that national level from our FBI and CIA and other national agencies that deal with this kind of activity. Security is something that our nation has been known for in the past, at least, and we've got to do a better job. Our security systems and personnel really have to do a better job. And it just makes you wonder, in some cases, did they see it and just ignore it, or didn't believe what it was that they were seeing? I see the Facebook post that says willful ignorance, and that could be the case. Just deliberately ignoring what they saw or disbelieving what they saw, and as a result, we see the damage that was done. Come on, join the conversation. We're here on Let's Chat America. You're listening to us all over the nation today, and we're happy to have you tuned in to the #1 opinion talk show on Joy 106.3 FM. The phone number to call if you want to get in the conversation with me is 386-516-8030. That's 386-516-8030. Now listen, also, there's a new YouTube channel. We got to give a shout out to YouTube today. There is a new YouTube channel called Let's Chat America. And what we're going to be doing after each broadcast of our program, we're going to upload the video that we take on our Facebook Live feed. We're going to upload the video each week to our new YouTube channel. So I want you to go to YouTube. If you don't have an account, it's very simple to just log in as a YouTube member, YouTube viewer, and search for Let's Chat America on YouTube. There's one video up there now from last week. And so, the Lord willing, every week when the show is over, we'll post the video of the day on our YouTube channel. Now listen, the more visitors we get to our YouTube videos, the more popular Let's Chat America becomes on YouTube. And that popularity just means more listeners, more viewers to our broadcast. And we really want to extend our reach and our focus across the United States of America. And you can help us do that. You can help me do that by going to YouTube, go to the Let's Chat America channel. And I appreciate all of your comments on Facebook. We want to really increase our viewership and those who listen. 386-516-8030. 386-516-8030. You have a chance to get your voice heard across the United States and around the world. So let's get to the impeachment. That's what the first topic is today, because it is, and I don't know how many times we can use the word unprecedented. I've used that word repeatedly during the Trump era, unprecedented, and certainly yesterday we can use that word one more time because it was unprecedented. And to those of you who've been concerned about the vandalism to my own property, we have the police on it. They've taken their reports and pictures and everything else. Video cameras installed around the home now, so that we can get these kinds of nuts and kooks on camera. And believe me, if seen, they will be prosecuted. And thank you for your prayers. Let's get to the second impeachment. Never before in the history of this country, Jackson was impeached, Andrew Jackson. Of course, we know Nixon was impeached. Bill Clinton was impeached. And now we see that Donald Trump has been, for the first time in our history, he has been impeached twice. And I guess we could give congratulations to Donald Trump. I'm not going to congratulate him for anything else, but I'm going to congratulate him because he accomplished something no other president has ever accomplished twice. According to TheRoot.com, this information coming as a report from NBC News, according to NBC News, the vote to impeach Trump passed the House at 232 to 197, with 10 Republicans. Now, we got to put a pin in that, because 10 Republicans grew a spine, grew some backbone, and voted in favor of impeaching number 45. Now, as nice as that is, as great as that is, 10 of them finally getting some backbone, it should have been a lot more. These Republicans are concerned because the Republican Party is really no longer the Republican Party. It is really now the party of Trump. And so their careers, if they want to continue to be elected in the states where they live, they know that these rabid followers of Donald Trump are the voters they need to keep their careers alive. And so they have to walk this line of being either complicit in what Trump stands for and what he says and what he does, or being patriots who are not concerned about career, but are concerned about the oath that they take to the Constitution of the United States. And that oath says that they will defend this Constitution against foreign and domestic invaders. And I'm paraphrasing it, but they are to defend our Constitution against people from Russia and people from Georgia or Louisiana or South Carolina or North Carolina or Pennsylvania or Michigan or any other state in the United States of America. And so the House charged the president, getting back to TheRoot.com, the House charged the president with this was the only charge in the articles of impeachment, and the article was incitement of insurrection. And that means inciting the insurrection that took place in the nation's capital that most of us either saw live or if we were working, we saw clips after work. But most of us, especially if you're watching me today, then I'm sure you were watching what happened in Washington last week. The article of impeachment is expected to be immediately sent to the Senate. And here's where the monkey wrench is thrown into the whole equation, because Senator Majority Leader, he's currently Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, has already said that he has no plans to reconvene the Senate, because right now they're on a hiatus, and he has no plans to reconvene the Senate before January 19th. So this means that we're likely to have a simultaneous impeachment and inauguration, which is really unbelievable. And I thought that only happened in the TV movie Scandal, where you had this kind of stuff going on all at the same time. But obviously this is what's going to take place. So Speaker Nancy Pelosi, I'm going to quote her. Nancy Pelosi said, "Those insurrectionists were not patriots. They were part of a political base to be catered to or managed. They were domestic terrorists, and justice must prevail." That was the statement from Speaker Pelosi 2 hours at the onset of the 2-hour debate before the final vote took place on Wednesday. Republican Liz Cheney from Wyoming, who was the highest ranking Republican to vote in favor of impeachment, NBC News notes that among those who joined her were, and these people should be complimented, joining her was Adam Kinzinger from Illinois, and he's been a constant kind of thorn in Trump's side, Fred Upton from Michigan, John Katkow of New York, Peter Meijer of Michigan, Anthony Gonzalez of Ohio, Tom Rice of South Carolina, believe it or not, David Valado of California, and Jamie Herrera Butler and Dan Newhouse of the state of Washington. Now, it should be noted, again, this article is coming from theroot.com that we're sharing with you today, but it should be noted that 0 House Republicans voted in favor of impeaching Trump back in 2019. So I guess 10 is a setup. I'm simply glad to know that the other 197 Republicans who were present for the vote are totally cool with a president committing a whole donkey insurrection. And you know what the other name for a donkey is. House Republicans did not try to argue the debate session that Trump wasn't being afforded due process and that the impeachment process was rushed. This despite being the same party that was okay with rushing through a Supreme Court justice only weeks before an election. That was okay. Rushing the Supreme Court justice through, that's fine. But what the Democrats did yesterday, that was a major issue. Oh, you're moving too fast. We need to take time. We need to have a commission. We need to look at it. We need to bring witnesses. All of that nonsense. But when it's something that is politically beneficial to them, oh, then it's no problem. We can make that happen overnight. Inconsistency is a true Republican value. It's unclear, exactly unclear, that things are going to play out, how things are going to play out once the Senate takes up the articles of impeachment. That's kind of an unknown right now. Don't know what's really going to happen with that. Though considering that by the time of the trial, Democrats will have the ruling majority in the Senate, it's looking highly unlikely that Trump will be able to duck impeachment for the second time. And that's great. So now that that's out of the way, we need to sit back, take a breather, and recognize that the new Senate will probably have to chew gum and walk at the same time, because more than likely they'll have to split their sessions, part of the session being to take care of whatever Senate business needs to be dealt with, but then the other part of their day may have to be focused on the Senate trial. And that's been done before. It's not something that they're unfamiliar with doing. The Senate has done that in the past. So once the new majority takes their positions, meaning Chuck Schumer becomes the majority leader of the Senate, at that point, the Democrats will have 50 votes, and the tie-breaking vote will come from the vice president, which will be Vice President Kamala Harris. That will give them a majority, which is all they need, is my understanding, for the impeachment. Well, let me back up. They may need a 2/3 vote in the Senate for the impeachment to be ratified. But that's not inconceivable, especially since the current Mitch McConnell leadership is indicating that he's kind of okay with this impeachment trial moving forward in the Senate. That being said, about 12 Republican senators will probably be needed in order for Trump to be convicted in the Senate. Now, what does that conviction do? A conviction in the Senate, even though by then he'll be out of office, he'll be back in Mar-a-Lago, hanging out, playing golf. What that conviction will do is it will strip him of the ability to run for any public office, not just president, any public office. He wouldn't be able to run for dog catcher of Florida once he is convicted in the Senate. What do you think? Come on, give me a call. The phone line is open, 386-516-8030. That's 386-516-8030. To all of you on the Facebook Live feed, thank you so much. We see you. Hopefully you can see me and hear me. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Sometimes our audio on the Facebook Live feed can be a little dim, but hopefully you're hearing me without any issues. And it appears so. I haven't seen anybody post that they can't hear me. So that was the first thing that I really wanted to share with you, is the impeachment trial. That has been taken care of, and now we wait for the impeachment itself is done by the House, I should say. Now we wait for the actual trial. Witnesses to be brought forth. There are 10 impeachment managers that have been appointed by Nancy Pelosi to run the impeachment trial in the Senate once that takes place. And those names, I'm sure most of you are familiar with them. They are they're getting ready as we speak for that trial to begin. And they're going to have all the facts. It'll be laid out exactly what happened. Trump in his own voice at the rally before they stormed the Capitol building, in his own voice, he spoke to this crowd, incited the crowd, encouraged the crowd, told the crowd a lie that he would march down to the Capitol with them, and then promptly went back to the White House, turned on the television, and watched his minions do his bidding. And the report is that he was almost giddy, so happy at what he saw people doing in his name. Because he's got this demagoguery complex. He really has a God complex. He feels like he is God, and he can do whatever he wants to do. There are rules for you and I that we have to follow, but he believes there are no rules for Donald Trump. Whatever Trump wants to do, he does. And this stems from his upbringing, his father and mother appeasing anything he wanted to do and everything that he wanted to do without ever putting boundaries or restrictions on his behavior. And this is a classic example of why it is so important to raise children with rules and boundaries. Because when they have no rules and they have no boundaries, they grow up with this sense of, I can do whatever I want to do, whatever I feel like doing, I'm going to do it. Because my upbringing suggests that I can have free reign of my activities, no accountability, no restrictions, no line that I cannot cross, because I've never had to do that before. And we see now what has been unleashed on this country as a result of the lack of boundaries in the life of number 45. The phone line is open. You can give me a call if you're in your home, if you're at the office, if you're in your car. You've got your phone handy. Pick it up. Dial those 10 numbers, 386-516-8030. That's 386-516-8030. And I see your comments on the Facebook page. Thank you all so much. J Music, I see you on the Facebook feed. Carolyn Sanders, I see you on our Facebook feed. Maurice, see you as well. Bishop Butts, blessings upon you, my brother. Let's see who's giving me a call here on the line. Caller, you're on Let's Chat America with Dr. Durham. What's your question or your comment?
Well, first, it's good to see you, Reverend Durham. This is Tony.
Hey, Tony. How are you?
Okay.
Good.
This is, he is going to be so busy defending himself in court for so many charges. And when you think how people confuse the issue of free speech, which is to express yourself and your opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and inciting sedition.
Mm-hmm.
Sedition is not supported as free speech.
Right.
And that's all I can say by trying to be careful to watch my language. 'Cause I respect you, Ed.
Okay. I understand completely.
You have a great day, and I hope you remain very safe, you and your family and your home.
Well, thank you so much, my good friend, to all of you who are listening across the country. This is my childhood friend. We grew up together. We ate together. We played together. We had a lot of great memories together. Went to the prom together.
Yes.
Yeah, we just had a lot of great times back in our hometown of Passaic, New Jersey. Tony, it's so good to hear your voice, and hope the family is all doing well. Please tell everybody I said hello.
All right. God bless you.
God bless you. Love you, my brother.
I love you too.
All right. Bye-bye now. All right. That's all you have to do, everybody. Pick up the phone. Dial those 10 numbers. New Jersey was on the line. You can be on the line. Give us a call. The number is 386-516-8030. 386-516-8030. Reverend Gresham, you are correct. I made a statement that Trump was impeached. Actually, Trump was not impeached. He resigned before the impeachment proceedings got underway, and that's a great point. I want to be correct on the program because I don't want people leaving here hearing what I said, and I said something that may have been misstated. But Nixon resigned before the impeachment proceeded, and that's kind of the difference between character and Nixon having enough character to resign when the handwriting was on the wall, but not just the handwriting on the wall. Republicans, senators, and members of the House went to Nixon, sat in his office and said, look, if you don't resign, you're going to be impeached. And they had enough courage to look him in the eye and tell him face to face that he needed to resign. Don't have that kind of courage today in the Republican Party, on the House side or on the Senate side. None of them are willing to tell him that he needs to step aside. I don't know what they're afraid of with this guy. I wish I knew, but they are deathly afraid of confronting him and getting him to see that he needs to step aside. And maybe one day there'll be a historian 50 years from now who uncovers what the fear was all about and why they were so fearful of him and afraid of him. But I don't know if we'll ever know that in the short term at all, because they just don't they don't have any backbone whatsoever to confront him straight up. I see, Bert, I see your comment that you heard, just because Trump said to go to the Capitol doesn't make him at fault, because those were just spoken words. No, that's in, and people are trying to say that, Alberta, that, you know, Trump had the right to tell people to go to the Capitol. It's just his words that were spoken. But when your words incite people to do or commit a crime, and what they did was criminal, you can't just walk into the Capitol on a regular day. You just can't up and decide you're going to walk into the Capitol and you're going to walk up and down the halls of the Capitol building, and you're going to visit your favorite congressperson. It doesn't work like that. Once you step foot on the property of the Capitol, inside the Capitol building in particular, uninvited, you are in violation of trespass. And these individuals were at the very least guilty of trespassing, and then at the most guilty of vandalism and causing bodily harm to the Capitol police officers who were barring or attempting to bar their entrance into the building. So people who say, "Oh, it was just words," he's free speech. He can say there's a difference. Free speech crosses the line at a certain point. You can't sit in a movie theater watching a movie and all of a sudden you stand up and shout "fire," because what's going to happen? Individuals will start running out of that movie theater, causing harm to one another, trampling each other in their desire to get out of a building where they think there is a fire. And someone saying that, knowing that there is no fire, but saying it just because I just felt like saying it. I just felt like yelling "fire" in a crowded theater. That is not lawful to do. So free speech has limits. It has boundaries that we cannot cross just because we feel like whatever we're thinking we can say. No, you can't. And so hopefully that gives some clarity. Kristen, we see you on the Facebook Live feed. Thank you, beloved, for being with us today. You're listening to Let's Chat America here on Joy 106.3 FM. This is the #1 talk show in Daytona Beach and Volusia County on Thursday from 12 to 1 o'clock. It is 44 minutes past the hour. I want to get to a couple of things real quick that I wanted to share with you. The state of Michigan hit the news today. As many of us remember, there was a major, or still is, a major water concern in the state of Michigan, but particularly in and around Flint, Michigan. Well, in the news today, and if you want to give me a call to talk about any of this, pick up the phone. You know the number, 386-516-8030, 386-516-8030. The Michigan Attorney General, Dana Nessel, filed 2 charges of willful neglect of duty against former Governor Rick Snyder on yesterday. And that's a day before her office is set to announce new details in the Flint water crisis investigation. Once again, we see in this Flint water crisis, and people, I don't know if people think that African Americans have some kind of complex, that we're always inventing stuff. We're not. Stuff is happening. And once again, we saw in this Flint, Michigan water crisis the non-concern for things that harm or affect people in the black community. This is a trend that America, since slavery, has really overlooked. We are sometimes overlooked. We're in some cases we're taken advantage of, and in some cases we are abused as people. If that abuse is beneficial to the majority culture, and that's very sad. African Americans have been saying and pointing out inconsistencies in government, in the treatment of African Americans on so many levels and in so many cases, and many times those voices are not heard. In many times they are dismissed, they are not given validity, and it's just unfortunate. But here we see in the Flint, Michigan water crisis, and this was a major crisis in Flint, Michigan. People died, scores of children drinking the filthy water were infected with lead as a result of the water that they were drinking. And so we see that charges now have been brought against the former governor, Rick Snyder, on Wednesday. We're going to keep an eye on this story, of course. We'll make sure that we stay on top of it to see just where these charges go, whether there is a conviction or an acquittal. But there was a breakdown in a lot of areas in Flint, Michigan, around this issue of safe drinking water. And water is a necessity for the existence of human life. And for this to have been so lightly dealt with by those officials in Michigan is atrocious. It is disgraceful. We see Kristen has put a comment. She says, look at the difference in response reaction to the Capitol riots versus the Black Lives Matter protests. If people of color had stormed the Capitol, the outcome would have been much different. Kristen, you are exactly right. I've been saying this since it happened. You know, if those were Black Lives Matter protesters that had stormed the Capitol, believe me, first and foremost, you would have seen more than the Capitol Police trying to defend the building. They would have had the National Guard. They would have had the regular army, not just the National Guard. They would have had the regular army mobilized with probably with tanks, anti-aircraft, and everything else in place. If that number, that volume of African Americans had come together and approached the Capitol building, they wouldn't have gotten anywhere near being able to enter the building. They would have had a perimeter around the Capitol of blocks away, so that they wouldn't have even gotten that close to the building in the first place. So we know that, we know that. So this double standard, it has been in place in this country since 1619, when the first African slaves were disembarked from the shores of Africa onto the shores of this country. There has been this divide, this second-class attitude about persons of color in this country. And it needs to stop. Hopefully this new administration, they have a new civil rights division that they're putting in place. Hopefully we're going to see some things now that are going to hopefully begin the process. And until this country deals with race, I've said this as a pastor for many, many years, until the United States of America deals with race, we're going to have these divisions in our nation, these double standards in our nation. Whenever African Americans decide to peacefully protest, what are we labeled as? We're not labeled as peaceful protesters. Kristen says this in her post that she just put on the Facebook page. We're labeled as looters. We're labeled as rioters. We're labeled as criminals automatically. And so this double standard, this standard that has to do with race relations in this country must be dealt with. You're listening to Let's Chat America. I'm your host, Dr. L. Ronald Durham. It is 53 minutes past the hour. You still have a moment to give me a call if you'd like to. And Alberta, you're right. We're also labeled as thugs. We're labeled as thugs. And all of those labels, Tony, yes, Antifa, we're automatically included as Antifa members whenever there's an organization or a large group of protesters of color, African Americans, Hispanics, and other persons of color, automatically. 386-516-8030. 386-516-8030. 53 minutes past the hour. Today, Trump now blames his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. Trump had some 60 court cases attempting to overturn the will of the voters in states like Michigan and Georgia and Pennsylvania and Arizona. Now Trump is blaming his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, for all of these losses that he experienced in the American court system. Wanting to overturn the will of millions of people who voted for Joe Biden to become the next president of the United States. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to Let's Chat America. You have Dr. Durham. What's your question or your comment?
Oh, praise the Lord. How are you today?
I am blessed. How are you?
That's awesome. All I can say is there is a God. Thank goodness.
Oh, yes. There is.
There is a God.
There is a God.
And thank you so much for all your informative information. And I just thank God because to me the most sickening thing in it all is that so many Christians supporting all of this disasters that's going on, and they won't acknowledge evil when they see evil. Mm-hmm. And that's been really heartbreaking to me. But the thing is that God allowed everybody to come out the woodwork so we can see them openly. Mm-hmm. And so that's been a blessing in it all. And also for Flint, Michigan, I know for many years they've been trying to get justice for our people. And all I can say is, he may not come when we want him, but he's always on time.
Always on time. You're so right, beloved. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you. Love you so much.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. All right now. Bye-bye. All right. That's all you had to do. Pick up the phone, dial those 10 numbers. Oh, and let me not forget, Monday, the 18th, we're celebrating Dr. King all over the country, around the world. There will be virtual and things online to celebrate Dr. King. But here in Florida, here in Port Orange, Florida, there will be a gathering on the 18th, which is Monday. That's the official holiday. The gathering will take place on the corner of Ridgewood Avenue, which is US 1, and Dunlawton, which is the bridge that goes from the mainland to the beach side. There will be a Martin Luther King celebration on the corner of Ridgewood Avenue and Dunlawton Avenue starting at 12 noon. For those who want to march, you can march across the bridge. There'll be a short march across the bridge and back. And then there will be a speech that will be given in celebration of MLK Day. And guess who the speaker is for this Martin Luther King Jr. celebration on Monday? Me. I am the guest speaker. Monday, 12 o'clock. Come on out. Shake my hand. We'll fist bump because we're still in the middle of the pandemic. So we'll fist bump. I'm the speaker Monday, 12 o'clock, Port Orange. We thank you, Alberta. We definitely want to pray for the marchers to be protected. Listen, you got to wear a mask. You got to social distance. We're going to do all of that Monday. But this is going to be a great celebration outdoors, so there'll be plenty of room for social distancing. You'll be able to see other friends and neighbors. Lynette, blessings upon you. Hope you'll be there. And it'll be a great time. 12 o'clock Monday, the corner of Dunlawton Avenue and Ridgewood Avenue in Port Orange. Come on out. We're going to be safe. And Kristen, you're right. We will be careful because there are a lot of crazies out there. But hopefully they will honor and respect the fact that this is the Martin Luther King celebration, and we won't have any issues. This is not political. This is honoring the life of Dr. Martin Luther King, who was, in many cases, a person who had political inclinations for what was right in America and for the government to do right by African Americans. And so, of course, I'll be talking about that in my speech that I give on Monday. So be there Monday, Port Orange, corner of Dunlawton Avenue and Ridgewood Avenue, 12 noon. Great time. And I think you'll really enjoy yourself. It's 1 o'clock. I gotta get out of here. I wish I had 2 hours, but we gotta go. Love you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting Let's Chat America. Don't forget the YouTube channel. You got to go to YouTube. There is a new Let's Chat America channel on YouTube. We'll be putting the video from today up on the YouTube channel later. Each week, we're going to upload a new video. And love you, Alberta. And you'll be able to go back. You'll be able to share it with family and friends. Send the link to others so they can view Let's Chat America. We got to blow up the internet. We got to blow up social media. Let's Chat America. Let's make it the #1 talk show all over the country. Love you. God bless you. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program here on Let's Chat America, broadcast from the world's most famous beach. To request Dr. Durham to speak at your event, please call 386-451-5114. Again, that's 386-451-5114. Tune in next Thursday, 12 noon, for another powerful program hour here on Joy 106.3 FM.
WAIGLP, Daytona Beach, Joy